So in a previous video, I set out my intention to practice string bending a lot, right? So I've been working with the Guthrie Govan string bending masterclass videos and a few other things. I've done about 10 hours of practice on string bending across about the last month. And here's a kind of training montage. And at the end, I'll discuss kind of my conclusions, any useful insights I had on my playing or the technique. And yeah, I hope you find it interesting.
And it'll make you sound more bluesy and authentic. The at least that half, that maybe just having the confidence to use these pre-bends will help you to turn that into. Up to a note and then release and slide up to the same note.
Don't ask me to do it again.
Oh, okay.
Well, we'll try it anyway.
That was great.
Try it again.
Okay.
So I'm going to go for a cool, innovative camera angle for this. Yeah, my fingertips are getting pretty sore, which is definitely part of the process. So if anyone ever tells you blues is easy, they're full of shit. Something I'm realizing now about my playing is that I tend to really heavily substitute slides for what most people would do with bends, right? So I think this started because I really like the Greg Howe vibrato, where he does this kind of that kind of slidey thing. I love the sound of that, but it's kind of baked into my hands now. And that a lot of things people do with a bend up, I do with a slide up, right? Or things that people would do with wide normal vibrato, I do with wide slidey vibrato. I like this part of my playing, the slidey vibrato stuff, so I am probably going to keep it, but it's something I'm going to have to pay more attention to, right? So if I catch myself doing something really slidey, maybe I'll try and do it with bends, and I'll fail miserably, but maybe it's something I should be doing now that I'm noodling around now.
What I'm suggesting here is that you can expand that vocabulary by checking that you know every possible bend, and then that you're able to do it backwards.
Hey there. So yeah, I've done about 10 hours of string bending practice now. I guess I would say overall, I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with the technique, right? So before I would occasionally go for string bends, not even particularly ambitious things, like not like 2 tones or a tone and a half or anything, and just miss pitch wise, or I would try and vibrato at the top of a bend and just wouldn't have the finger strength, and you see if the fingers are pretty battered. I definitely feel a lot more comfortable with the physical aspect of this. I think some things that should have been obvious earlier, I didn't do enough of. So something that created some decent ideas and was definitely good for my ears and fingers was doing that kind of bending and pre-bending every scale note all across the neck. So that ended up coming up. I ended up doing some cool ideas there in improvisation, and it's a useful thing to do when you're tired, you're not like really playing your best creatively. It's a nice kind of compromise, right? It still moves you around the fingerboard and keeps things going if you're a bit tired. And some of the things I was improvising, I definitely wouldn't have played before embarking on this deliberately, right? So in terms of generating brand new ideas that I would never have played before, it's definitely already a win. I think, like, for example, I think my lack of like blues vocabulary kind of shows. I'm basically improvising everything off the top of my head. That has pros and cons, right? So I think I'm not really using blues ears. And this again, this was something else that kind of like really obvious, but I always think of string music with lots and lots of string bending as a technique, kind of being kind of that blues rock style, which I'm not really that interested in listening to personally. But of course, like, there's lots of artists in other styles of music that use string bending extensively, right? And I think once I kind of got into my head that I could play ideas more like Steve Vai, or like that I could try like other modes, other scales. That started to produce more interesting ideas, or maybe it's just because it's stuff that I actually personally am more familiar with or enjoy, or my ears go to more easily. So regarding the spreadsheet, something I was surprised at was I tend to practice quite diligently, right? So there's a lot of days here I'm getting in like 2, or this was a day off, like even 3 hours of practice, right? But if you have a weekend away, right, or a weekend off, or like, I don't know what I was doing here exactly. I think I was like socializing and, you know, doing normal person things. Like, it means that my average was less than an hour a day, even though I was actually playing quite a lot. Like, on a lot of work days, I kind of like be coming home like 7:30 and then practicing through till 9 day. I'm amazed how hard it is to get in regular practice. I've also realized I need to edit down my speaking here, or these videos are going to be incredibly long. I'm also routinely practicing more other stuff than I am doing string bending, right? So even when I do quite a lot of string bending practice, I'm also doing a lot of something else. I think that's, you know, that's what I actually enjoy a lot of the time is I don't want to just sit and mechanically work on one thing forever. So a lot of this stuff was spent like figuring out parts from the Blade Runner soundtrack, which I really enjoyed. I'm learning some really challenging stuff. I've produced a couple of videos for like relatively technically easy riffs, but that I enjoyed. So I'm still like doing a bit of general YouTube content creation, and I'm keeping up my string bending practice. So I'm really curious where this goes as time progresses, right? So I'm 2 videos through Guthrie's series. I think it is a good idea to not try and rush through the teaching content, but to try and practice lots and lots of it before moving on. I'm definitely feeling more comfortable with the technique, but what I'm kind of lacking is vocabulary. And I've got to be honest, like general lead guitar improvisation is not really a strong point of mine. Like you can see the amount of videos I've done that are kind of based around like heavy rhythm playing compared to like fiddly lead playing. I just, for me, I've always been like 9/10, kind of like a give me big riffs kind of player. So I might tweak what I'm practicing, but I definitely think I'll continue practicing, and I'll kind of like document interesting bits and pieces. Because this video is a little different from what I usually do, I'd really appreciate feedback on like, do you want to see like bloopers? Do you want to see more improv? Do you want to see like, well, like anything you really are interested in regarding the format? If it's not too difficult to do, I might well do it. I assume if you got to the end of this video, you're one of very few people, so I'll take it you're one of the more invested people, in your opinion deserves some more weight. Yeah. Oh, and I also made this graph, right? So this is, the green line is the total time, and the colored lines are the different things I practice. And then look all the way up here, I've done 30 hours of practice in 31 days. Okay, considering I took some days off. Okay, thanks very much.